My name is Bernhard Dalheimer. I'm in fact with FAO Statistics, and we're going to proceed as this. First I'm going to present you an outline of the model. Then I'm going to show you some of our results. I want to remind this is a work in progress. This is a draft. We are within developing this model fully, but we also have some very promising results, and I also want to present some of the validation work we have undertaken so far in order to support our results. And yeah, first of all, I'm going to give you all some motivation. Why are we doing this? Well, sustainability is one issue that we would like to track. We can draw the figure how much milk production has increased in which country, how much milk per cow is doable at this moment. But it would be very interesting to have another graph that shows us how much more feed is being used and which kind of feed is being used in order to reach those levels. So we want to capture the dynamism in the livestock sector, increasing production. We have heard the livestock revolution, diseases. The livestock sector is very dynamic, and we actually want to capture this. And at this moment, most of the feed estimation and most of the feed numbers, they come usually from balancing approaches where the utilization accounts are being balanced, and the feed numbers usually carry carry the error of all the other elements that have been estimated. That's what we want to improve, and we want to improve also the opportunities for estimating other elements in utilization accounts, which would be, for instance, food or stocks, industrial use, the biofuels, what we have. Okay, this is an overview of the outline of our model. Basically, energy demand or protein demand, which together is the feed demand, is composed by livestock and poultry demand and by the aquaculture demand. For modeling livestock and the livestock and poultry demand, we're going to need information on herd composition, which is at the moment constant. It is not yet specialized for countries and years. We will have the number of animals, which we have from FAO-Stat. We calculate the requirements per animal, which we do for every country and every year, using special models provided by the National Research Council of the United States National Academy of Science. And we use an intensification rate. Intensification rate is, for our understanding, a little bit different, because it should technically express the relation between feed that is not it should express a ratio between feed that is eatable for humans and not eatable for humans. For instance, all the roughages go on the one side, and all the grains, for instance, the maize, goes on the other side. In order to estimate this intensification rate, we have some observations taken from literature, taken from other studies. There has been done some work explaining how intensified the livestock sectors are, so what feed resources they are using. And we have built a model which takes also in account the permanent meadows and pastures, designing livestock intensity, the spatial livestock intensity, how many cows, how many pigs, how many chickens are in a certain space. And we also take into account the labor productivity in agriculture, which tracks very well intensification in the livestock sector. Okay, the aquaculture model is pretty much the same. It's some different approach, because we're using production numbers, not the livestock, not the head numbers. But I think due to the time, I'm going to skip the aquaculture a little bit, because this is also a dairy meeting. Put it in mathematical terms, D total is the livestock and poultry module plus the aqua module. And this is how our equation looks like. It's very, very straightforward. We use the herd adjustment factor, the feed requirement of our animal unit, which we have created for energy requirements and protein requirements. So this exists two times, one for energy and one for protein. We have the numbers, we have the intensification, and we have the animal unit index which we have to differentiate it for every country and every year since 1990. What we get out of this is a time series for 25 countries or regions from 1990 to 2011 with many data points. This is how the aggregated energy and protein demand looks like for high-income countries, upper-middle-income countries, and lower-middle-income, and also the low-income countries. And I think this is there are very intuitive results too. We see that in the middle-income countries, demand is rising quicker than it is, for instance, in high-income countries. So how are we going to know what we have estimated? The numbers we have come up with are somewhere close to reality. You know, we could be 300% off. So what we have done is some countries do report on feed exhaustively also, but unfortunately these are mostly developed countries. And we can cross-check this with our numbers, of course. What has their analysis brought up, and what did we come up with? And the second thing we are doing now, and which we already have some initial results, is we do quality check with FAO-ESS country studies. So I don't know if you have heard of FAO-ESS before. Okay, well, I will explain FAO-ESS later. First of all, we're going to have a look at the comparison between our FAO-Stat numbers and our feed model. You know, this it looks very good. We were surprised too when we saw this. This is a graph showing us the feed energy supply versus the energy demand. Supply is what countries report in FAO-Stat, which we send out the questionnaire every year for getting all the production data, getting all the utilization data, and this is what countries report. But we only have the countries that at least report on 5 items. If a country comes up and says, yeah, we only have maize for feed, we have to put that out because this is not very likely. When we have an item coverage of 5, we actually get a correlation of 0.9, which is very good, but only for 36 countries, and these are the most developed countries, and these are the countries that have the most sophisticated feed estimation, have a very good idea of how much feed is being utilized in their country. So what we want to do is we want to know how much close to reality are our estimates in developing countries and in low-income countries. This is now a joint program between FAO-ESS and FAO Statistics. FAO-ESS has been established by the G20 in order to increase food market transparency, reduce the likelihood of food price volatility, and increase sustainability in agriculture. It focuses on the supply utilization accounts, but only on 4 crops, which are wheat, maize, rice, and soybeans. Participating countries are the G20 members plus Spain, and 7 invited countries, which we can see here. Some of these countries are also already present here: the Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines. And what FAO-ESS has conducted is they had country studies in some of these countries, 6, for instance, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, and China. These country studies were about feed utilization, focusing on the 4 key FAO-ESS crops. We looked at some of the results of these and cross-checked it with our estimates. This is, for instance, Thailand. And the Thailand validation it brings again directly in front of your eyes, in front of our eyes, that our model is just as good as the data we have. We have detected some inconsistency between the data that Thailand is sending to FAO every year and the data that the Department of Livestock Development in Thailand is working with. So, in fact, when we compare our estimates using the Thai numbers with the estimates or the consumption according to the Thai Feed Mill Association, we have a very good result. In Indonesia, the situation is a little bit different. We don't have yet all the information that we need, but what we can see here, you see the red line, this is imports, and the blue line is what our model estimates, and we can very well see that there has been apparently a sharp increase in feed demand, and the year after imports also jumped. And this is what we're actually looking at, which we want to try to capture the dynamism, what is happening in feed utilization. We want to capture this. In China, the situation is a little bit different. The red line represents, the red and the green line represents estimations from private consultancy firms, but these are only the 4 key AMIS commodities. So assuming that our estimates and their estimates are correct, the gap technically is utilization of other feedstuffs besides the 4 AMIS crops, which might be roots, for instance, or other feedstuff that they are using. Though in recent years the gap is declining, which might also mirror the increasing or the progressing intensification of the livestock sector. In Vietnam, we can observe this even better. The gap is declining even more visible, which in our eyes very well mirrors the ongoing intensification process in Vietnam of the livestock sector. Okay, what we have to do now is actually we have to revise our model. We have to do more validation, where we want to work with more countries. We want to revise our parameters, exploit more data sources that we already have, and respecificate our model, re-estimate our model. And in the end, what we have to come up with is we have to come up with serial balance sheets, which break down energy and protein demand into the various commodities, which is a very difficult task, but we already have some ideas in mind how we can do this. For instance, feed formulation softwares or other econometric models have been suggested. We are currently sorting this out, how we gonna proceed in providing actual quantities of feed utilization in countries. What another way forward is this model, well, as said, depends on the data. But if the development in livestock population, livestock production, which is being projected, if that is available, we can also go ahead and project feed uses and also feedstuff uses for at least the short-term future, if not long-term future. Well, and all in all, what we're trying to do is we are trying to achieve better statistics on global food availability and sustainability in feeding. Okay, thank you very much for attention.